Good afternoon, teachers. Today I'm going to speak about error correction. Mistakes of the learners are divided into two types, errors and slips. Errors occur when learners are still processing the language information and they have not fully mastered it yet, have not fully acquired it yet. But the learner still needs some progress in this domain of the language, in this field of the language. And he or she does not understand what is wrong and he is unable to correct his own errors. But slips are another matter. Slips occur due to temporary emotions of the speaker or language anxiety or some worries. Learner is aware of her mistakes and he can go back and correct his or her mistakes himself or herself. So errors, when learner makes errors, he is unaware and he can't correct his mistakes. But when learners have slips, this means that they are aware of their mistakes, but they are under the influence of some emotions or anxiety. And this is why they can't concentrate fully and make slips, but they are able to correct their own mistakes. There are two reasons why learners make mistakes. The first reason is the influence of their mother language, the influence of the first language. This is usually called interference. The errors are called interference errors. This is due to the influence of the first language of the learners. Then comes the second reason. This is when the processing of the language material is not yet complete. The learner has not fully mastered the language structure or language information yet. He or she is still processing it, and as a result, developmental errors occur. So errors can be interference errors and developmental errors, and all these errors and mistakes of the learners should be viewed as chances and opportunities for learning and making progress in the second language acquisition. And all these errors and mistakes are part of learners' interlanguage. Interlanguage is the learner's new version of target language. For example, the learner learns the English language. He or she formulates a new version of the English language, and it is called interlanguage. Interlanguage has some elements of the learner's mother tongue, learner's first language. So interlanguage is just a mix, is very similar to a mix between the second language and the first language of the learner, because it has elements of the first language. It bears some elements of the learner's first language. And formulating interlanguage is an unavoidable stage in the second language acquisition. And interlanguage is not stable and it's not fixed. It's just develops and develops over time. It progresses. And developmental and interference errors, they disappear without any correction, and there is no need correcting them, because over time, due to the progress in the second language acquisition, all these errors disappear. But there are some errors that don't disappear. They remain and become fossilized, and it is called fossilization in the linguistics. Fossilization is very hard just to correct fossilized errors. It is both very hard for the teacher to correct them and for the learners themselves. it is the result of the lack of sufficient language exposure. When the learner doesn't receive sufficient amount of language input and language exposure, fossilization occurs, and it is very hard to correct fossilized mistakes. And there are some techniques of correcting mistakes. The first one, we can show finger correction. The teacher shows his or her fingers, first, second, third finger, and in this way he or she indicates that there is mistake in the first part or in the second word or in the third sentence, etc. And then comes reformulating. Reformulation is also an effective strategy of error correction. Reformulation is repeating the same sentence but it's already corrected form. Maybe one of my students speak about the activities he did yesterday, but instead of using past tense, he or she uses present simple. And I, in order to correct, I just state, I give the corrected version. I repeat the corrected version of the same sentence. I use past tense instead of present tense, and in this way I correct my learner's mistake by reformulation. Also, there is post-task correction strategy. This means that during speech activities, speech tasks, it's not good to interrupt learners every time and correct their mistakes. It's not good to just interrupt learners every time and correct mistakes. So teachers should wait until the task ends, then they can correct their learners' mistakes. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for watching.